My name is Raven, professional wrestling superstar, former world heavyweight champion, and I want you to choose your 4. This is Pro Wrestling Rushmore. Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Choose your 4. It's Pro Wrestling Rushmore. Hello, humanoids. This is Ian from Squared Circle History, and I'm here to ask you to choose your 4. It's Pro Wrestling Rushmore. Welcome to the only podcast that chooses a topic and lets you, the fans, submit their lists, all en route to us constructing our Mount Rushmore of a specific topic. And this week, it's the Mount Rushmore of managers. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Brian.
What's going on, guys? What's up, Ian?
We took a week off. How you feeling, Brian?
I'm feeling great.
What'd you think of that intro from Raven there?
Oh, that's great, man. I don't know how you did it.
And I have a very special list submission at the end that I will play from Raven himself. But Brian, what wrestling shirt are you wearing today?
Tonight, I am wearing the Fuji Vice t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that one?
Yes, I do remember that.
If you don't, you can just look at it and, it should refresh your memory.
Well, I thought you were asking me if I remembered the Fuji Vice segment.
All of it.
Yeah, of course, the TNT Tuesday Night Titans with Don Morocco. They were trying to spoof Miami Vice and all sorts of 80s programs back then.
On the boat.
On the boat. It would have made a great action show, I think. They're a great comedy duo right there.
Don Morocco. I wouldn't consider Don Morocco a comedy act.
Well, he's hard-edged.
Don Morocco, those were great. What a great actor, Don Morocco.
Oh, boy. So today I am wearing my Bruiser Brody Of the Dead shirt, designed by Of the Dead. Go on Instagram, check out his awesome t-shirts and designs. And he also designed the Squared Circle History logo. One of them, at least. The other one is designed by Angry Lemonade. That was the first one that came out. Just the one pillar with the chains coming out of it. But Of the Dead designed the ring. Yeah.
You know what? I'm looking at the shirt. He's got the handout.
Yeah.
Brody's got the handout.
Yeah.
Berserker types. Berserker got that from him, huh?
Berserker ripped him off, yeah.
The whole
Huss, yep. Completely ripped him off, the whole gimmick.
Right.
Except for the chain. And instead of a chain, the Berserker carried a sword and wore his Flavor Flav helmet.
He had haunts on his helmet?
Who?
Flavor Flav?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Alright.
Come on, you didn't watch Flavor of Love?
Of course I did.
Binging on it? Wow!
I love New York.
You love New York, there you go. And as always, reading our lists for us. Oh, Brian, I didn't give you a proper intro. I'm just realizing that.
I know. You know what? I wasn't saying anything.
Yep.
And I was waiting to see what compliment you were going to give Sara tonight.
Okay. I am going to call Sara lovely and talented, but maybe not on the same lovely and talented scale as Brian.
I'm nobody's leftovers, Ian. You're doing it out of pity. I'm not going to accept it. So, Sara, go ahead.
Hi. Thanks for that intro.
Hi, Sara. Okay, so with all this said,
nobody puts Brian in the corner, Ian.
Sorry, baby. All right. So, with all that said, let's begin construction on the Mount Rushmore of managers.
Up first, as always, is Pat R. from Fall River with Bobby the Brain Heenan, Sensational Sherry, Paul Bearer, and Paul Heyman.
So, no spoilers here. A couple of those names on there are going to be heard a lot during this episode. We have more submissions than ever this week. This is our first episode with 30 submissions, so it's like we have our own proverbial Royal Rumble of Mount Rushmore lists here.
Yeah, so, off the bat, Bobby Heenan, definitely. I mean, I think he's going to be there at the end.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman, same. I'm torn between Paul Bearer and Sherry, although great picks. Especially the Sherry pick. I like that Sherry pick a lot, actually. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I think there's a lot more suitable managers out there than to have them. And what do you think? Like, all right, so what makes a great manager? What?
Yeah,
What is it?
It's funny because I have a whole list of questions on here, and the first question is, what makes a good manager?
Manager.
Manager. A couple people will get that. Well, I think it depends. Like, would you rather have a heel manager or would you rather have a babyface manager?
Well, I think if you're gonna have it's got to be a heel.
It should be a heel.
Of course.
Because they distract the referee, they hand off weapons, they get cheap shots, and you think about there's going to be a lot of people on this list, and they have their own signature weapons, and they need the opportunity to use those signature weapons.
But not only that, I mean, even if they don't have a signature weapon, they can use their props. So a lot of managers will come out with a necktie, or shoes, and they can just take their necktie off, strangle the guy, who's on the apron, or use the shoe as a foreign object, and hit him in the head while he's being distracted by the referee, or hang him over the ropes and take him by the back of the neck and choke him over the ropes. It's a great prop.
Yeah, and as long as they evoke some sort of emotion from the fans, whether it be positive or negative, I guess a good role of a manager would be to rile up the crowd if the guys in the ring maybe are slowing it down a little bit.
Absolutely, but the thing is, if you're a manager, you need to know where that fine line is between getting heat for yourself and getting heat for the guy you're managing.
Yes, because that's another topic I wrote down here is managers outshining their clients, if you will.
Right, and that's what
and we've seen it.
I think that's a lot of the problem with having managers these days, because if you look at the managers in the 80s, 90s, they were out for heat for their guys, and they had so many Heenan had the Heenan family. They had a lot of Jimmy Hart had a lot of guys that he managed at the same time.
Sure.
And the psychology that those guys had to get heat for their guys, as opposed to getting heat for themselves, was uncanny. It's unmatched these days, and I think that's a lot of the reason why you don't see managers around a lot, more often than you do.
Yeah, and it's really strange because, like you said, you would see managers managing multiple clients, and nowadays it's like if you're a manager, you stick to one person, or you stick to one tag team, or if you're in a faction, whatever. But I don't know, things are a lot different nowadays.
Very different.
And even in character, you would have the managers negotiating, title matches and things like that, and it just doesn't seem like the managers have that same role anymore.
Right. I've heard stories of the missing link. Like, Bobby Heenan was actually his manager outside of wrestling.
Yeah, Paul Ellering too for the Road Warriors.
Right. So
book all of his travel, all their travel. They would take care of everything. So there's another thing right there. Is there are actual managers, then there are just character managers, and then if we even want to, we're only on the first list right now. But if we want to get into valets, like what's the difference between a manager and a valet?
Oh, there's no difference. I mean, same thing with an agent.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman was Brock Lesnar's agent. It's a title they give a manager.
Sure.
It's still a manager.
In the end, if they're accompanying somebody to the ring, and it's not their tag team partner, it's a manager.
Matilda was a manager.
Matilda was a manager.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Yep. Frankie. Well, all right, so we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about everybody else. But Sarah, would you please read our next submission?
The next four are from Bobby on the Beat: Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, and Paul Heyman.
So Jim Cornette, without a doubt, one of the greatest managers of all time. Also one of the most controversial characters in all of wrestling. But you can't deny, I mean, Jim Cornette, I believe, got his start in like 1983. And still, to this day, he's not managing anymore, but he's still relevant. People still turn to him for opinions, whether, they're positive or negative.
He could manage if he still wanted to, though.
Sure.
I mean, the guy's... He's got the gift of gab, and that's another thing you need as a manager.
Yes, he's got to talk the people in, but like him, you rarely ever see him stumble over his words. I mean, he is sharp. He's quick. From the territory days to WCW to WWF. I mean, even in Smoky Mountain, his own company. I mean, Jim Cornette, that is one manager that really has done it all.
And what about his presentation? The clothes he came out with?
Oh, those polyester
suits,
clothes.
Polyester suits.
Living off of his mother's fortune.
Right.
And, of course, the tennis racket, which I recently heard helped him out when fans got a little unruly, too.
Yeah, he used to, load it, right?
Oh, he would load that tennis racket and smash people in the face. But he only did that after he had a reason to do that. He was attacked.
Right. Can't blame him.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's trying to protect himself, and at that time, he was only in his 20s.
Right.
His early 20s.
And did you notice that a lot of these guys got their start the same way? As, like,
photographers. Yeah. I mean, Jim Cornette, Paul Heyman, John Arezzi that does the Pro Wrestling Spotlight podcast. He was a photographer.
Was he a manager?
Independent manager.
Gotcha.
The Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, there's somebody who has also been around for a long time, and he's been in the entertainment industry for a long time, starting out in the rock group The Gentrys, and then moving on to be a wrestling manager in Memphis with the First Family, and then moving on to WWF with the Hart Foundation, and think about all the tag teams he managed.
And that's another good example of someone who manages guys outside the ring.
Yes.
He was managing Hogan's stuff, personal business.
Personal business, right. Yes. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Hart, that's another jack of all trades right there, and definitely another guy who's just stood the test of time. And the megaphone is so iconic.
Definitely is.
I mean, you think of a megaphone anywhere. You think of a megaphone when you're watching...
when I see a megaphone, I think Jimmy Hart.
you think Jimmy
automatically.
All right. And then Paul Heyman... it's interesting because Paul Heyman has had also a very long career as a manager, but he started out as Paulie Dangerously, doing pretty much a different character, and then transitioned all these years later to Paul Heyman, the sports agent. But going back to those signature weapons, you had Paulie Dangerously with the giant cell phone, which back then wasn't really a giant cell phone, it was just a cell phone. That's how big they were back then.
Right. Phone in a bag.
Phone in a bag,
Zach Morris phone.
That's it, absolutely.
Yeah, Paul Heyman, though, I mean, even now, I think he's better now than he was back then with the Dangerous Alliance,
Absolutely. I mean, Paul Heyman comes on, he talks, you listen.
Yeah, definitely.
He always has a good message.
It's appointment TV when he's on Raw.
Yes, that's perfect.
Or SmackDown now. I don't know, where is he?
SmackDown. He's with the Tribal Chief.
You better acknowledge me next time, Ian, as lovely and talented. I want to be acknowledged.
Whoa. This is coming out of left field right now.
Roman wants to be acknowledged as the Tribal Chief. I want to be acknowledged here.
I got you. All right, so maybe y'all start being the lovely and talented one, and Sara will have to be
just Sara.
Something else. Just Sara.
No,
oh,
see, because this doesn't work that way.
Okay. All right. Well,
I know where your heart is.
Obviously. All right, Sara. Who do we have next?
Nobody throws Brian in the corner.
That's a T-shirt. That'll be an eventual T-shirt.
Now we have the list from first-time submitter Dirty Heels podcast with Paul Heyman, J.J. Dillon, Paul Bearer, and Bobby Heenan.
So yes, the Dirty Heels podcast. Check that out. They cover all sorts of independent wrestling. I listened to one recently about the history of Combat Zone Wrestling. These guys do a good thing. So definitely check them out. But the name that sticks out on here, J.J. Dillon. J.J. Dillon, I feel, does not get enough credit. There was a guy, he could talk people into the seats. He, known for managing the Four Horsemen, but managed the Nature Boy Buddy Landell, managed Black Bart, managed Cowboy Ron Bass for a while. J.J. Dillon, classy dude right there.
Yeah, I guess, like I said before, I didn't watch a lot of the Down South wrestling, but from what I gather, J.J. Dillon was great. I do remember him with a Horseman, of course.
Yeah.
They're a horse, of course.
Of course.
No, but I do remember that. Yeah, he was good, but I think of managers, man. I really, honestly, don't even think of WCW really.
Yeah. Well, that's what you grew up with. You grew up with WWF.
Right. But they had all the best managers.
Yeah.
Eventually. Let's be honest.
J.J. Dillon was the only one who didn't. He went to the company, but he went to work as backstage.
Right.
I don't know why. Think about it. They had JJ, they had Arn, they had Tully, they had Barry Windham, all at the same time. They just needed Flair. And then they all left, and then Flair came in.
Yeah. They had every opportunity to get that done, and swung and missed.
Nope.
Like they usually do.
They usually do. I'd like to see their batting average. All right, Sarah, who do we have next?
Grudge Match Brand brings us Paul Bearer, Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, and Paul Ellering.
Grudge Match Brand, check them out on Instagram. They have a wonderful, wonderful store with many awesome designs. I always mention the Jushin Liger Motorhead design, but check it out. But again, we see Bobby Heenan on here. We see Paul Heyman on here. Another vote for Paul Bearer. And there we go, Paul Ellering.
I disagree with Paul Ellering.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't think, carrying a rolled up newspaper to the ring and, even his talking, I didn't like his cadence when he spoke.
Okay.
I think Animal did a fine job with his promos, with the Tell 'em Hawk, and Hawk would come in with the wow! Like, that was great. You didn't need Paul Ellering to enhance that team. That's my opinion.
Hey, can you imagine, though, if Paul Heyman managed the Road Warriors?
Huh?
Can you imagine if Paul Heyman...
Oh, I said Paul Ellering. Yeah, that would be something, I guess.
Take a look at my Warriors of the Road. They are quite the Legion of Doom, you see. But let's talk about Paul Bearer for a little bit here. Paul Bearer, who started out as Percy Pringle down in World Class. He might have managed before that. It's slipping my mind right now. But as Paul Bearer, that he went to a completely different level, managing The Undertaker. And is that enough? Is that enough to get you onto the Mount Rushmore for really only managing, Undertaker, Mankind, Kane, Vader?
Oh, yes! No, it isn't, though.
The Paul Bearer has spoken. Sarah, who do we have next?
Next up is TTD Wrestling with Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Paul Bearer, and Paul Heyman.
Do you have a favorite Bobby Heenan moment? We must all have a great Bobby Heenan moment.
His comments, man, were like second to none.
You talking to me?
Yeah, and like when him and Gorilla played off each other so well, and it's not even a moment when he was managing, but him and Gorilla, he'd be like, what do you say? Like, I'll take you outside, and Gorilla's like, let's go then. And he goes, no, I have something, I have to call a match. You know what I mean?
I have prior obligations.
Right,
A broadcast journalist, Gorilla.
Well, it's not fair to Flair. Oh, there goes your meal ticket, Gorilla.
Probably the most famous one, the Royal Rumble '92, with him just pulling for Flair the whole time. Every time Flair was about to get out, he just go, no. It's like Cleveland from Family Guy. Now.
But see, all right, with Heenan though, it goes back to what makes a great manager. He was a great wrestler. Mm-hmm. I mean, not just good, but I heard he was actually a great wrestler.
With him, alright, this is going to be a weird comparison, but he reminds me of Chris Farley in the sense that Chris Farley was a very physical comedy actor. He would throw himself through tables, throw himself around to get a laugh out of people. And I think Bobby Heenan did that, went over the top, did the big flips. Hogan punches him, he does a backflip.
Right. But he knew how to get work as a manager, as a wrestler, if that makes any sense. So when he was in a ring with someone, in a match, he would wrestle like a manager would wrestle. Like a manager really didn't know how to wrestle, right?
Yes.
But he could take bumps with the best of them. His bumps were amazing.
Yep. Master of psychology, right there.
That's what you gotta know how to do. So, I mean, I guess to be a manager, you have to know how to, be a wrestler first.
Sure.
But a lot of times, a manager will go in there and he'll put on a good match, and actually do some spots. Like, wow, this guy could be a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it should be that way. I think you should go in there like Jim Cornette did, fists folded over, blocking your face, and just, be the chicken shit heel manager.
Yeah.
And not a badass, because that's not what you're being paid to do.
Exactly. You have to know when to... I heard Raven say this once. You have to know when to show your ass, and what that means is you have to be a coward. You have to know when to cower. You have to know when to bow up. You gotta talk a big game, but when it comes time to stand up to the guy that you're talking to, you gotta start to cower like the little dog. But wrestlers as managers, I mean, J.J. Dillon, he used to be a wrestler. Paul Ellering used to be a wrestler. So I have to agree with you on that. I think that if you've been in the ring before, if you've taken the bumps, if you know how to work a match, that is definitely going to help you as a manager, because like you were saying, you have to know the right time to say, turn around to the crowd and tell them to shut up, or you have to know the right time to distract the referee. The manager is just as important as the two guys in the ring, or at least they should be.
No, exactly. And you know what? A lot of times they'll have a spot where, they'll talk about it in the back and say, all right, and I'll wait for this, and the manager will need to watch out for that spot.
Yes.
And if they don't hit it, then that could throw off the pace of the match.
Absolutely.
Or, anything.
All right, Sarah, who do we have next?
Package Pile Driver Shirts votes for the 3 Pauls: Ellering, Bearer, Heyman, and Bobby Heenan.
All right, fair enough. 3 Pauls and a Heyman. And a Heenan. Screwed that one up. 3 Pauls and a Heenan. Let's see. So,
I'm surprised Paul Ellering's on there again.
yeah. Well,
Is he on there a lot?
he's on here a few times. Maybe it's because the whole animal thing recently. Maybe he's fresh in people's minds.
Yeah,
But from going back and watching some of the Jim Crockett stuff, he had more of a role back then. Like it wasn't just Hawk and Animal cutting the promos. He would get his words in too, and build up the feud. Like right now, I'm watching the build up of the Road Warriors and the Koloffs, and at the same time, they want to get a title shot from tag team champions, the Midnight Express. So you have Paul Ellering, kind of talking trash about Jim Cornette, trying to set something up in the future, while at the same time talking trash about the Russians, and they're all over the place. But Paul Ellering, no, he's good. He's good. I'm not gonna put him on my Mount Rushmore, but maybe if he had Rocco longer, I'd put him on my Mount Rushmore.
Oh boy. Ugh. I don't see it, but
No, that's all right. Oh, but then again, he did manage the Authors of Pain. Isn't that enough to get him on this?
no, man, that was bad. We talked about it before about guys coming from NXT with so much promise, and they just don't know what to do with them. And
Yep.
and I didn't like the Authors of Pain that much when they were in NXT anyway, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like they could have done a lot with them. They were 2 powerhouses, and yeah, even with Paul, the amazing Paul Ellering,
Nobody could tame my beasts of war.
I hate the cadence. I don't like it.
You mean to tell me you didn't subscribe to the Wall Street Journal just to crumple it up and just smack it in your hand?
No, I do it now with my dog.
Oh, jeez.
Smack him on the head. Stupid dog.
ASPCA. All those comments come from Brian. Sarah, who do we have next?
Next is a list of the Great Haru with just 3 names: Jim Cornette, Gary Hart, and Paul Ellering.
Oh, going back to previously we had the list from Package Pile Driver t-shirts. He's got a pretty good Megumi Kudo shirt out right now.
I'm sorry?
Megumi Kudo. He's got a Megumi Kudo shirt out right now.
Oh, that's the Japanese lady.
The Japanese lady,
All right.
not the Portuguese lady.
No, not the Portuguese lady.
Yes, he's also got some nice FMW shorts that you can buy.
FMW shorts.
FMW shorts, so they're like short shorts.
Like Daisy Dukes?
Like kind of like Daisy Dukes, but like different material, like
Nylon, something?
something like that, and it's got like the FMW logo on the side.
What the hell?
What the hell?
What I want to do with short nylon shorts?
I don't know. Maybe you want to show that you are a proud FMW fan by showing off a lot of your legs and giant pink FMW logo.
But I'm not a big FMW fan.
Well, I am. I didn't buy the shorts, but
Are you sure? You're putting it over like you have 3 of them.
I didn't get the Megumi Kudo shirt yet.
You
But anyway, the Great Haru, only giving us 3 this time. That's all right. Mentioned Jim Cornette, Gary Hart, Paul Ellering. I was just thinking, do you remember the time Jim Cornette, it was Shotgun Saturday Night, and they had the minis, they like Max Mini and like Mini Vader, Mini Mankind, and they like chased him around. They ripped his pants off and locked him out of the building, and then he ran down Times Square.
I don't remember that.
His
Shotgun
boxers.
Saturday Night.
No.
I remember them in the Royal Rumble though, like the '95 Royal Rumble. Yeah, like mini Vader. It was like
97.
Was it '97?
Yeah,
Wow.
because it was San Antonio.
Oh wow. I was
Shawn
way off.
Michaels.
But yeah, I do remember them there, like the Mini Mankind, Mini Vader.
Yeah,
those were
Mini
cool.
Goldust.
Yeah, those were cool.
Those were cool. I think they could have done something with that Minis division.
Yeah.
They
guys.
Sonny was falling in love with Max Mini.
Should have been Max Midget.
Oh jeez.
What? That's what they. I mean, come on. All right, stop. Let's stop right now. They're midgets. I mean,
I know that Hornswoggle said recently that he prefers to be called a midget.
okay.
So-
because that's what they are. That's what he is.
Well, to each their own. I don't know the struggle that they're going through.
Oh my god. So you'd rather be called a mini
No, I wouldn't.
A small person.
No, I. If anything, I think that's more degrading.
That's what I'm saying.
If there's already a term for, let's leave the Webster's Dictionary talk out
I'm
of
just
this.
saying, it's not like I'm calling them munchkin or anything.
No, but I mean, if they were an actor in The Wizard of Oz, they would rightfully be a munchkin.
Yes, they were.
All right.
Or an elf.
An elf? They didn't have elves in The Wizard of Oz.
No, I'm saying if they're like, if they were in the North Pole, they'd be considered elves.
Oh, I got you now.
I mean, is that offensive now? Like, can I not
don't know.
call an elf around Christmas time?
Can we still call Oompa Loompas Oompa Loompas?
I don't. What is that?
Doop-a-dee-doo?
Oompa Loompa Oompa Dee Doo.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
What was that from?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That's it. That's what it was.
Or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Whether you like Gene Wilder or Johnny Depp.
I like
Take your pick.
Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, Sarah, who do we have next?
Simon from the Naked High submits Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, Jimmy Hart, and Paul Bearer.
Simon from the Naked High. Great band right there. Great stoner rock band from Canada right there. And Simon, I see on Instagram posting pictures of the different beers he has every day.
Yeah.
But he's got Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, Jimmy Hart, Paul Bearer. That's a solid list right there. Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna be hearing a lot of the Bobby Heenans.
And you'd think we were talking about, wrestlers with their signature weapons. You got Jim Cornette with the tennis racket, you got Jimmy Hart with the megaphone. But we didn't mention Paul Bearer with the urn. That urn would come into play a lot.
Yeah, it was a good prop. A different prop. Original, we'd have smoke come out of it sometimes when he dropped it, or Kama stealing it and making a nice gold chain out of it.
Yep.
That was cool. Chasing to get it back.
If you could bring a prop to the ring, what would it be?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Huh. I hate when you put me on the spot, Ian.
You should just come to expect this.
I know.
Every week I'm gonna ask you these questions on the spot, and you're gonna say, "Oh, geez, you're putting me on the spot."
Always, it's true because I never expect it. I don't expect it.
Expect the unexpected. Well, in this case, expect the expected.
It is, I know it should be expected. Probably just a plain old briefcase.
A briefcase?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a boring guy like
Take
that.
the IRS route there.
Right, but you could always stuff it with something, and all of a sudden you drop it and it opens and you see what's in it.
Yeah.
I mean, something like that.
That could work. I think I'd want like a wooden spoon.
But I guess but what would your gimmick be to have a wooden spoon?
Maybe I run like a
chef.
Yeah, maybe I'm a chef.
As a manager?
I'm a chef and a manager of a restaurant, and maybe I have the bookkeeping book in one hand, and I got the wooden spoon in the other hand, and I'm gonna smack you off the head with it behind the referee's back.
So does your
None for you.
Does the guy you manage and work at your restaurant?
Maybe he's a busboy. Like maybe he wears like an apron and it's all like dirty and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. I would pick a wooden spoon.
I always thought, what would be a good gimmick?
What's that?
Is like, a meter-maid gimmick for wrestling.
Yeah.
You're outside just putting tickets on everybody's car around the building.
Yes. Oh man, and that would even be good. Because obviously you wouldn't have a real meter maid really tag these cars in the parking lot.
Right.
But that would be an awesome like gag for the show. Like,
exactly.
Oh, I got a ticket from
right,
Mr. Maid. Or,
it's easy heat.
Very easy heat. Yeah. You want to get made?
Right. Show him outside. Like the meat is not even expired, but he's still getting a ticket or something. What I mean?
That'd be awesome. He's got like a billy club in his hand.
Yeah.
And he's just smacking.
No, it's
what about the book of tickets?
Yes,
the book of
exactly.
tickets. Just smacking him in the palm of his hand.
That'd be good.
All of these violators. Move it or lose it, pal.
Booting someone's car.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. And maybe his tag team partner is like a tow truck guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. They could call themselves Hard Times.
Hard Times.
Hard Times, daddy.
I like it. They should make a meter-maid gimmick.
Yeah, that would be pretty original. That's never happened before.
Even as a manager.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
What we got?
Is it Now we were talking earlier about the difference between managers and valets, and the only difference that I could think of is I think a valet is just like a woman that comes to the ring, that's meant to be eye candy, that stands in the person's corner, and really, if they slap the mat.
Yeah, but
I mean,
so a valet and a manager, okay, so if they're just eye candy, and not to put anybody down or speak ill of the dead, but if you can't speak ill of the dead, who can you speak about? But no, seriously, like Luna Vachon, she wasn't eye candy. So was she a valet or was she a manager?
I thought she was a manager because she would get involved behind the referee's back. She'd scratch the guy's eyes or scratch their back.
So would Sherry.
And Sherry's definitely a manager.
How about woman?
Woman's a manager.
So there's only one valet, you're telling me? Is that Elizabeth?
Miss Elizabeth.
So there's only one valet?
Maybe, but what about the time when, okay, Sable.
I
would say Sable was a valet, though. In the beginning, I'd say Sable was a valet for Mark Merrow because she didn't do anything. She didn't get involved. She just stood in his corner, cheered for him.
Doesn't matter. But when Randy Savage first announced Elizabeth, didn't he announce her as his manager?
As his manager, yes.
So there you go. Randy Savage just solved it for all of us.
Solved it for all of us. Back in the day, if you were wrestling in the 80s, who would you want to be your manager?
Damn it! Heenan.
I was just going to say,
Heenan.
Isn't it obvious? It's either going to be Heenan or Slick.
No, you keep on putting me on the spot, but no, Heenan, definitely Heenan. Yeah, why hasn't Slick made it yet? He's not mine.
Well, spoiler it, nobody mentioned Slick.
Damn it.
So, anything you want to say about Slick, you better say it now, because nobody mentioned
Remember
Slick.
the intro to that Drive Soul Bro video? Like, these guys won't even let me eat my Yardbird. Then it started with a beat.
Oh, man. Oh, the point of that, going back to the manager thing, was, do you think it's enough to just be attractive and stand in the corner to be a manager?
If that was the case, I'd be making buku money at WWE. Nah. I mean, yeah, I guess Elizabeth did it, right?
That is true. And it's interesting because when she went to WCW after her legendary WWF run, she was a little bit more, physical, getting involved in the matches, scratching the guy's eyes behind the referee's back and hitting him with her purse. She evolved as a manager.
Yeah, she did.
Okay, Sarah, who do we have next?
Next we have the list from Death by Lariat: Paul Bearer, Bill Alfonso, Gato, and Paul Heyman.
All right, so first and foremost, Bill Alfonso from ECW. That was a guy that knew how to get heat, blowing that whistle. And what about that beating he took from Beulah?
Yeah, man, that was crazy, right?
And it definitely helped that Alfonso was in the business for decades before as a referee.
Right.
So I mean, again, he knew exactly what to do, what to look for, and
I like that pick.
Yeah, Bill Alfonso's a great pick.
I do.
But that's he only gets mentioned once.
Yeah, I believe it.
And then we have Gato from New Japan, legendary manager of Kazuchika Okada, that moved on to Switchblade Jay White.
It's a Bullet Club now, right?
Bullet Club, yes.
Yeah,
and he's a former wrestler as well.
I remember asking you when I first started watching New Japan, hey, who's the guy with the headband that was like, he's always like stalking Okada? Because he would never do anything.
No.
And I don't know, maybe he was great before that, and I just never saw it. But
Well, think about it this way. When he was with Okada, Okada was like the big baby face of the company. So, he's just going to really stand in the corner, cheer him on. Like, what was the guy's name from Punch-Out, the manager?
Mac. No, Mac was the little guy.
Yeah, Little Mac was
Little Mac.
Was the boxer.
I don't know what the guy's name was.
All right, well, no problem.
But, all right, so that's all right, there you go, though. So Okada was the big face, right? Gato was just cheering him on.
Yes.
And that wasn't good. So that goes back to my point of you need to be a heel to be a great manager.
Okay. Because in that case, then Gato would just be acting as a valet.
Right. Yes, yeah, all right. I guess valets are for faces and managers are for heels.
Hey, that makes sense. You got the two terms there as well. You got babyface and heel. You got valet and manager.
Right.
Who knows?
Maybe I just solved it.
I think you just did, and I think we're going to start referring it to them as that now.
What? Faces and valets?
No, I'm totally kidding. Like, we're not really going to do that.
Oh,
we're probably going to forget about it after this thing is done recording.
You know, I take everything so literal. So
I know you
can't do that to me.
I know you do, and it's okay. That's not a problem. Okay, Sarah, who do we have next?
Johnny D has on his Mount Rushmore Stacy Keibler, Paul Bearer, Paul Heyman, and Stephanie McMahon.
So we got some interesting picks here, Stacy Keibler and Stephanie McMahon. I cannot kind of understand the Stacy Keibler. I mean, I know why he put Stacy Keibler on the list, but even as a manager, I mean, what is she remembered for? The Dudleys, David Flair,
I'm not.
Test.
I'm not making a real list to, get my rocks off to here. I'm making a list based on what I think is a great manager. And Stacy Keibler was not a great manager or valet. She was great to look at, don't get me wrong. Love looking at her. Wish I could look at her right now. But she was not a great manager.
But wouldn't you agree, though, that she did provide a great distraction that would definitely help her wrestlers pick up wins?
What, like her legs? Like taking off her skirt? And...
Well, think about it. She'd stand up on the apron and, like, bend over and stuff. And, of course, the guy would, look at her, and then her wrestler would roll the guy up and pin him.
Okay, how often does she get her guy over by talking?
Oh, by talking.
Never.
Beyond just calling his fans testicles. That's about it.
Yeah, but that was Test calling his fans testicles. That had nothing to do with Stacy Keibler.
Yes, it did have something to do with Stacy, because she was the one who told him that he should call his fans testicles. She became like his marketing manager.
Yeah, I mean,
you just got a glimpse of something great, didn't you?
Yeah, Sara showed me a picture of Stacy Keibler, and I had to pause. It just got a little hot. Oh yeah.
What about Stephanie McMahon as a manager?
No.
Managing the Alliance?
No.
Managed Rhino?
No, she managed Rhino?
Yeah, during the Alliance days.
Man, I've forgotten so much wrestling over the years. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's a good thing I'm working on videos.
It's
Brian.
a great thing you're here to refresh my memory. I still don't remember her managing Rhino. I barely remember her managing Triple H.
Oh, she managed Jericho in the build-up to that WrestleMania with Triple H.
Yo. No, Stephanie as a manager, no. Nope.
Nope. All right, sorry, Johnny D, but
Who else is on there?
Well, he had Paul Bearer and Paul Heyman.
Okay.
So yeah,
I can see that.
It's respectable.
I still didn't love Paul Bearer as a manager.
No,
He's a good manager.
It's funny because all the votes that were coming in for Paul Bearer, and I felt the same way. I was like, wow, I really didn't consider him.
Right. But it fit the gimmick. In all of them. I mean, even Mankind. Like you could see Paul Bearer and Mankind. Vader, I don't know.
Mommy.
Right. Like that stuff was cool. Kane fit. So I could see Paul Bearer, but
murderer. Murderer. I see. I like that Paul. Like when Paul Bearer shaved his mustache off, and then he was just like the old Southern, father to Kane.
Right.
Murderer. Sarah, who's next?
Nikki Homicide votes for Woman, Paul Bearer, Paul Heyman, and Bobby Heenan.
Great to see a vote there for Woman. Very underrated. Nancy Benoit. Any memories of Woman?
Yeah, man. Woman with the Sandman in ECW.
Yes.
That was nice. That was good stuff.
Definitely.
But she's not she's not a good enough manager to be on a Mount Rushmore of managers.
Okay.
Sorry.
What about when her and Elizabeth both joined Ric Flair, and he had two managers in his corner, one to distract the referee, and then while the referee was distracted, Woman would go over and smack him with her shoe or something like that.
Yeah, that was good, but I liked her in ECW.
Woman was a very integral part in the Chris Benoit-Kevin Sullivan feud, both in real life and in story in WCW. It's almost like Kevin Sullivan booked his own divorce. But no, it was Woman that ended up turning on Kevin Sullivan and joining up with Chris Benoit in the Four Horsemen.
Both in wrestling and in real life.
And in real life, yes. Okay, Sarah, who do we have next?
Next up is Mike the Wolverine with Captain Lou Albano, Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, and Jimmy Hart.
All right, Captain Lou Albano, Super Mario himself. Were you a big Captain Lou Albano fan, Brian?
Only because he played Super Mario in the Super Mario Brothers cartoon. And he was in the Girls Just Want to Have Fun video with Cyndi Lauper.
Yes, Cyndi Lauper. I thought Albano was great.
I thought he was her father. I did when I was a kid. I was convinced that Captain Lou Albano was Cyndi Lauper's father in real life.
The guy was just wild beyond belief. He had the rubber bands glued to his face, and he'd have his big gut hanging out, and calling people pre-manufactured dog biscuits, but he was the manager of tag team champions. He managed more tag team champions than anybody else. He even came back to manage the Wild Samoans. No, not the Wild Samoans, the Head Shrinkers.
Yeah, did he really?
Yeah, he came back to. It was him and Alpha managed Fatu and Samu.
Oh yeah,
and
vaguely remember that.
Samu left, and it was Fatu and the Barbarian as Sione.
That's right. They wore boots.
They wore boots, yeah, and they had a hard time adjusting to the boots, but it was Albano that was telling them, you gotta wear the boots, Yep, I do remember that. But yeah, Albano was cool, man. He was a
Managed George the Animal Steel.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Good manager. Good pick. I like that pick.
Yeah, definitely.
And the rest is
You know,
just
Heenan, Heyman, Jimmy Hart.
status quo.
Yep. Did you know? It's a shame. I heard Jimmy Hart had a really good business down in Florida. He had like a tiki bar.
Jimmy Hart's Tiki Bar or something.
Yeah, and
All he sold was like
baked beans
and potatoes.
yeah, but unfortunately that closed down. But that's too bad because I would have liked to have checked that out. I hear he's around at Hulk Hogan's Beach Shop, and you can get a picture and an autograph with him for $20.
Yeah, he's down there a lot. I heard. And I never got to see him down there or meet him or anything like that.
Out the South, baby.
I've been a few times. Great place to check out, definitely. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd even bother going to that Tiki Bar.
No.
No, not really. Didn't Hogan have a restaurant too? Hogan's Beach. It was a restaurant at first, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
It was.
And before that, he had Pasta Mania.
Oh, really?
Pasta Mania in the Mall of America. It was like a fast food pasta place.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, Bossamania.
Sarah, who do we have next?
The next list is from Steve from Connecticut, Rhode Island, with Bobby Heenan, Paul Bearer, Sensational Sherry, and Jimmy Hart.
Sensational Sherry. Do you remember when she was Sensational Queen Sherry?
Yep.
With the Macho Man? How about the time she dressed up like she was in Cats when she fought, or she was supposed to fight Sapphire at SummerSlam? And
That's right. Sapphire forfeited the match, right?
she didn't show up, and
Because she was bought.
she was bought.
How about $1 Million Man as a manager?
Don't worry, it's gonna come up.
Oh, really? Someone put him
Oh
on there?
yeah, he's on here twice.
No, really?
Yeah.
How about Virgil?
Virgil's not even on here once.
I think Virgil's a better manager than $1 Million Man. Even though he really didn't.
he really didn't do a lot.
He didn't do anything, but he was an intricate part to that character.
He was the bodyguard of like the top heel at the time.
Right.
For years. And yeah, I
You know what I mean?
I know.
Not on mine, but I
Yeah.
think he deserves it more than Ted DiBiase to be on a manager's list.
Yeah, and we'll go back and we'll talk about people that, didn't get mentioned that maybe should have been mentioned, because there are a few, and when I name them off to you, you'll be like, oh yeah, maybe.
We'll go back and take a look.
All right, Sarah, who do we have next?
Danny and Dartmouth's submission includes Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Paul Bearer, and Miss Elizabeth.
So there we go. We got to vote for Miss Elizabeth right there. Legendary character right there. She's pretty much like the princess from Super Mario.
That's a good
Yeah, I'm telling you,
good
that's
example.
Yeah, she's the princess, which I guess makes Macho Man Mario.
Right.
Get out of my way, you Goombas!
Yeah, but he always had her. Like,
I'm gonna
he should have been
trophy
chasing
one
her.
of you. That makes Hogan Bowser.
Yeah.
Hogan steals the princess. Randy's and Luigi is Lenny Poffo. Mario, we have to save the princess. Danny's got Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Paul Bearer. I would love to see a cartoon with the Poffo brothers. Hogan as Bowser and Elizabeth as the princess. Oh my god, that would be awesome. Okay, Sarah, who do we have next?
Shep from Shepland votes for Bobby Heenan, Miss Elizabeth, The $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and Paul Heyman.
So there he is, $1 Million Man, manager of the $1 Million Corporation, briefly managed Andre the Giant, and in WCW. He managed the Steiner Brothers, and he was with the NWO. So I'd say, Ted DiBiase has a right to a vote on here.
I mean, any manager has a right to a vote, but no.
No.
Not Ted DiBiase. I'm sorry.
No.
No.
I mean, think about it. For
When
a time,
I put it out there, I meant that he was a manager. Like I was like, oh, what about Ted DiBiase as a manager?
Yeah.
But I really didn't think someone would seriously put him on their list.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. He managed the fake Undertaker. Isn't that enough?
I was being sarcastic when I said that. No, it's not enough.
What about Nikolai Volkov?
Nickel and Dime Volkov. No. And the Undertaker, that was terrible. They could have found someone better to pull off that Undertaker. Brian Lee.
Oh, you're saying to
not.
play the Undertaker?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They should have gotten Kane.
Huh? Was he around then?
He was, but he...
Still the Unabomber?
Or the Christmas Creature. One of the two at the time.
Yowzers.
Oh, yes. Sarah, who do we have next?
List King 1 chose these four: Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Jimmy Hart, and Captain Lou Albano.
Speaking of the List King, I just saw he put up a list of the Stanley Kubrick films all in order, ranked. He did a very good job with that. So,
Really?
yeah, List King won. He puts out some great lists often, which is why he would be the List King.
Does he have a website?
If you go on Instagram, look for List King 1.
Why is it? But is it a website? Like, if you hit on a link, does it bring you to a website?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I only dwell Instagram. I don't really dwell anything else, so I don't know if there's an actual physical website. But I do know that, on his Instagram he puts like pictures. Like he'll put like a picture of the list, so it'll be like the countdown of the list. He might host it on a website. I don't know.
I'm just more old fashioned. I like going on a website and doing the www periods, whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever you gotta put.
Listking1.com. Maybe he needs to go to GoDaddy and register that domain.
Oh. No.
And because we gave GoDaddy a shout, they should take care of our web fees. That'd be awesome.
Or maybe I should just stop being an old man and just go on Instagram and try to figure this stuff out. It's what you really want to say, right?
Well, I mean, for the sake of the show, maybe, but do whatever you want. I'll keep you in the loop here. But we see Captain Lou Albano on here again. I met him one time, and he was a very nice gentleman, but he was really. I miss the fat Captain Lou Albano. I got the skinny Captain Lou Albano.
I mean,
it's kind of like Chris Farley. Well, no, Chris Farley was never skinny. Yeah. Well, Chris Farley did lose weight, but Chris Farley was much funnier when he was heavier.
you can't help your health.
No, I know. I'm just saying how it is.
Let's not lose weight because Ian likes me fat.
Well, I liked Yokozuna when he was on the low end of fat.
What do you mean?
Well, because he got really fat,
Yeah.
but then he was just fat. Just big boned.
Towards the end?
No, in the beginning.
In the beginning?
Yeah, like I
Right.
liked Yokozuna then, but then he just gained too much weight.
Right, yeah.
So there's a line.
Yes.
I
I see what you're saying.
Okay, good.
Yokozuna.
Yakazuma, that menace. All right, Sarah, who's next?
Next, we have the list from Mikey from the Streets, Bobby Heenan, Classy Fred Blassie, Jimmy Hart, and Sensational Sherry.
All right, Classy Freddie Blassie, you pencil neck geeks. He called me that in person, too, so he wasn't wrong. But Classy Freddie Blassie, legendary manager. I mean, I'm thinking right now the first client of his that comes to mind is the Iron Sheik.
I was thinking Hogan.
Oh, yeah, Hogan. Yep. Wow, how did I not
That's
think of that one? But yeah, Freddie Blassie, I mean, he legendary wrestler before that, and then became a legendary manager, and he was hitting people in the throat with his cane in no time. And yeah, that great fashion sense too, huh?
yeah. I like Freddie Blassie. That's a good pick.
He really didn't have great fashion
I know he
sense.
didn't. I know he didn't. I'm just being a jerk.
Do you remember the towards the end of his life when he did like the voiceovers for the WWE
Yeah,
promo? Those were excellent.
Yeah,
And
kind of gives you chills,
Yeah, the time he gave like the rally speech to the locker room right before Invasion.
Right.
Yeah, Freddie Blassie was legendary.
Look, speaking of fashion sense, I'm looking at his LJN figure right now.
Yeah.
The mustard yellow jacket and
Yep.
the red shirt.
His like whole red, like it looks like almost like hospital scrubs.
Right. Yeah, he does. You're right.
But hey, back then he fit the part. He fit the part of an effective '80s manager.
Yeah. Good pick. I like it.
Yeah. I'd say
How
so.
has Mr. Fuji not been mentioned yet?
Mr. Fuji will be mentioned. He will be mentioned.
And that's fine, but I'm just saying, I'm surprised he hasn't been mentioned yet.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I just put these lists in the order, usually, of when people send them to me,
Right.
and it just so happened that the later submissions had Mr. Fuji on them.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he'll be on here. But, okay, so Sarah, who do we have next?
Paulicious votes for Bobby Heenan, J.J. Dillon, Jim Cornette, and Classy Freddie Blassie.
All right, Paul Licious here. Another vote for J.J. Dillon. I'm definitely happy to see that. I don't understand why J.J. Dillon didn't go back to being a manager when he went back to WCW, and instead they had him as like the commissioner type character.
I mean, anytime J.J. Dillon's around, you have a guy like J.J. Dillon, he should be a manager. Even when the Horsemen was put back together, with Malenko, Benoit, Flair,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anderson.
he should have been a part
He
of
should.
that.
Why not? He was there,
Yeah.
right? He was there anyway.
And, I mean, they could have used him even better, too. Put him in the NWO then. Have him turn his back on the Horsemen.
Oh man, too many people in the NWO.
Yeah, okay.
Just stop with that.
All right, I get you here. But we see Jim Cornette again, and then even Classy Freddie Blassie once again. That's cool. That's cool to see. All right, Sarah, who do we have next?
Another first-time submitter, Ants in the Kitchen with Bobby Heenan, J.J. Dillon, Captain Lou Albano, and Classy Freddie Blassie.
All right, we're starting to see the same names piling up again, so you know what, Sarah? Why don't you read the next one, too?
Jordan in Tennessee has on his list Jim Cornette, Jimmy Hart, Bobby Heenan, and Sensational Sherry.
Again, yeah, we are seeing the same names listed quite often here. Oh, just for fun, Sarah, just keep rolling here.
Next is Cashman in Plymouth with Jim Cornette, Jimmy Hart, Bobby Heenan, and Paul Heyman.
Wow. Look at all this.
Bobby Heenan's there, man. He's gonna be. It's a guarantee. Sometimes, a lot of the times, you know who your first two are gonna be.
Yes.
And we knew without a doubt it was gonna be Bobby Heenan, right?
Yeah.
I did anyway.
And I mean, you said two. Like you said, we always usually know two.
Right.
So
And
who do you
Heyman.
think the second one is?
Heyman.
Yes, of course. Okay.
Right. So it's Bobby Heenan and Heyman, and then the other two are gonna be up for the bait.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think it's gonna be a close race. And just from the names that we've heard so far, Jimmy Hart and Jim Cornette, I think they're gonna be battling for one of those spots there.
Did you put Jim Cornette on your list? No. I'm asking Pat. I'm sorry. That's it. Speak up, Pat.
We're not quite at the video version yet.
No, not yet.
Pat's a mute. It's all right. But all right, Sarah, who do we have next?
Chad Engleart's debut list is composed of Paul Heyman, Bobby Heenan, Gary Hart, and Captain Lou Albano.
Chad Engelart, awesome caricature artist. I found a caricature that he did of Paul Heyman, and I put it up on the Instagram page the other day, giving him credit, and he reached out to me. He's a really good dude. He's a really good artist, and I should definitely go check him out on Instagram. But, hey, he mentions Gary Hart. First mention here for Gary Hart.
Second.
Oh, we've mentioned Gary Hart before. Oh, and I completely...
At least two.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, Gary Hart, manager of the J-Tex Corporation, manager of Terry Funk and the NWA. Great Kabuki he managed Kamala. The Great Muda he managed. He's been around, and he's a very dangerous dude from Chicago, too. Many stories about him, pulling out his switchblade and cutting people that tried to give him hell.
Really?
But, yeah, and Gary Hart supposedly has, like, the greatest wrestling book ever written, but it hasn't been in print for years. So if you can find a copy of his autobiography, it goes for like hundreds of dollars.
I thought that distinction went to Diana Hart.
Diana Hart also with an absolutely accurate and no, it's not accurate. But
how do you know?
Well,
how do you know? She lived it. Did you live it?
You're right. I did not live it, but she definitely wrote a doozy of a book, and well, to each their own. But I mean, definitely very entertaining stories in there about Stu cooking all the chickens the morning of her wedding. But how do we get to Diane? Oh, the book. Yeah, Gary Hart. I'd like to find a copy of Gary Hart's book, even in PDF form, because I hear a lot about it. But yeah, Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman on Chad Engleart's list, and another vote for Super Mario, Captain Lou there.
It's nice to have someone current on the list like Heyman. I like that he's going to be on there at the end.
Yeah, and it
just shows his longevity and what he meant to the business. I mean, think about that. From the 80s till now, and it still be a top character.
And even after running ECW,
right.
Like he took a break from managing to run ECW, and it ended up being like one of the greatest, promotions of all time. That just great storylines, great feuds, great characters, and then to just completely, ECW ends and he jumps right into the role of commentator. Seamlessly jumps into the role of commentator.
That's a great mind, and he had a mind for every facet of the business.
Yes,
every facet.
Yes,
except for being a wrestler itself,
well,
which is kind of funny in itself, isn't it?
And for balancing a checkbook too.
All right, so he wasn't the strongest businessman, and he wasn't and he's not a wrestler. But aside from those two things, and he could have been a great businessman if he didn't take the deal with TNN. No.
Yeah. Yeah,
so he got too big for his britches, and that's what happened.
Yeah, because he had to water down his product,
right?
And oh, wrestling history, how it breaks my heart.
Could have been.
Yep. All right, Sarah, who's next?
On the Mark shirt submits Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, Gary Hart, and Paul Heyman.
On the Mark shirts, there's an old school fan right there. You can see it just based on his list. And there we go, another vote for old Switchblade himself, Gary Hart right there. We see Jim Cornette again. Man, personally, I want to see Jim Cornette make it to the end.
Yeah, I do too. I would.
Because I feel like with all of his controversial comments nowadays, it really, gets forgotten, why he is involved in the the wrestling business, and it's because he was one of the greatest managers there ever was, and one of the greatest people to cut a promo.
Yeah, definitely great promo. And when he brought those guys in from Smoky Mountain to the WWE,
yes,
that was even good stuff, The Heavenly Bodies.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like when T.L. Harper came on.
No, not Dirty White Boy and stuff.
Okay.
I'm talking about when he brought the new Midnight Express. And,
yeah, Well Done.
Yeah, Well Done.
Yeah.
The Heavenly Bodies.
Sure.
What was your favorite version of the Bodies though? Was it Hanson and Tom Pritchard, or was it Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey?
Oh, definitely Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey. Oh my God, he was such a creep with the mustache and rubbing his chest hair.
100%.
Definitely. Oh my God, you could have made a whole sleazy faction, and he could have been at the lead. How cool would it have been if you had Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey and beautiful Bobby Eaton as a tag team? They could be like the Stunners or something.
Right? Yeah, man, that'd be
GQ
awesome.
right there.
That would have been awesome. But yeah, how about Stan Lee? Always in the tag team, that guy, huh?
Yeah. Stan Lee, always in a
never
tag
do it by
team.
himself.
I hear he used to be a pretty good karate master.
Oh, really? Didn't do he wears gi everywhere?
Yeah, he wore his gi and wore little short kimonos around and stuff like
wonderful.
that. Yeah, definitely in a product of the 80s.
So he was sporting those Kudo short shorts before you.
Yes, he was.
All right.
Yes, he was.
Good
And
for him.
according to Jim Cornette, great the cocksmith.
The cocksmith? What do you mean, what's a cocksmith?
He got around.
Oh. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah, who's next?
Billy the Biker has on his list Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Paul Heyman, and Mr. Fuji.
Ah,
There he
Master
is.
Fuji, right there.
There he is. Deservedly so.
Yep. I mean, geez, you're wearing a Mr. Fuji shirt today.
I know, right?
Unbelievable.
You didn't even ask me if it was soft style.
I didn't. I knew it wasn't at this point.
You're off
I know
your
it's
game
not.
today.
You cheat. You cheat.
I am cheap. I'm not going to spring another $4.
Cheap.
I'm not springing $4 for a soft shirt.
It is
That
so
fits the
worth
same.
it. Your nipples will thank you. But Mr. Fuji was awesome, throwing the salt at people, hitting people with the cane.
Yeah, the cane, demolition. When you turn on demolition,
Yep.
you went with the powers of pain.
Stupid move. Why would you turn on the tag team champions?
You were sick of them.
But they're the champions.
Sick
They're
of their
making
bullshit.
him money.
No.
He can buy all the salt he wants.
No, it was fine. He
Well-
knew he was, waiting in the wings for Yokozuna to come up.
I was just gonna say
You know?
he made it big with Yokozuna managing
That's
a
right.
world champion.
Mr. Fuji was awesome.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
on mine.
No, not on mine either. But going back to what we were talking about earlier, again, Mr. Fuji, a wrestler who transitioned
Yes.
into a manager.
Exactly.
And Mr. Fuji also the king of pranks, the king of ribs.
Yeah, let's tell that story about the dog. Whose dog did he feed to?
Oh, was it Professor? It was either Professor Tanaka or Mr. Saito had this dog, this little dog, and he wronged, not the dog, but Mr. Saito wronged Mr. Fuji in some way, whether it be like a payoff or something like that. But Mr. Fuji decided to pull a prank on him and invite him over one day for barbecue. And once the guy, bit into the barbecue and said, "Oh wow, this is really good," Mr. Fuji revealed to him that the guy was eating his own dog.
Kind of like the Big Boss Man and Al Snow.
And that's where they got it from.
Yeah.
That is where they got it from.
Is that where they got it from?
Yeah, it was.
Not surprised.
Yeah, Mr. Fuji pulled some pretty mean pranks, I gotta say, as a dog lover. I kind of don't like that one, but can't make excuses for people, I guess.
No. I'm
Sad-
a dog lover too.
Really, you could have fooled me.
No, I am.
Okay.
I'm a big baby when it comes to my dog.
Tyson, you got an awesome dog.
Right. Unless he's knocking people's beers over, Pat.
The time he ran into the room, jumped through the air, and just darted like a bullet right on Pat's lap and spilled his beer all over him.
Because he's freaking nuts.
That dog is like the ultimate warrior.
He's just crazy.
Do you or do you not want to drink your beer?
Pat's beer went everywhere. It was everywhere. It was on him, on the couch. Yeah, dog got a taste.
Maybe that's why he ran in the room. Like, that was his opportunity. He's like, beer, 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 beer.
It's possible, I guess.
Sarah, who's next?
Next up is the list from Hunter the River Dweller, Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Miss Elizabeth, and Brother Love.
Brother Love. Yeah, mentioned for Brother Love as a manager.
No.
Yeah, I think he only managed The Undertaker.
Yeah,
briefly.
That's all he managed.
Yeah. He would be more of like a, what would we call him, like a talk show host, a personality?
Yeah, just, you know, is there a name for those segments?
Talk show segments.
Talk show segments, yeah.
That's really it. I mean, great character, regardless.
Right.
Great character. I wouldn't...
If we were talking about, like, you know, just wrestling characters, or if maybe those talk show things were incorporated into this,
Yep.
you know, yeah, I can see that. I could even see Jake Roberts with his snake pit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
no, not as a manager.
Yeah,
I do love Brother Love, though.
Brother Love's great, yep. And then the princess herself, Miss Elizabeth, she makes the list again. I'm telling you, the Poffo brothers, it's money. It's money.
The Mario Brothers thing?
Somebody's gonna make a shirt. Somebody's gonna design a logo of Randy Savage as Mario, and Hogan is Bowser, and you know, they gotta make that happen. And of course, Lanny is Luigi.
Yep.
Sarah, who do we have next?
The four from Pete Bow, Now You Know, are Paul Heyman, Paul Bearer, Ted DiBiase, and Nature Boy Ric Flair.
So a vote for Nature Boy Ric Flair. I would assume when he was managing Evolution and managing Randy Orton as a singles.
No.
No, doesn't cut it for you, huh?
No.
Okay, and then another vote there for Ted DiBiase.
No, I don't like it.
I mean, Ted DiBiase and Ric Flair, two of the greatest heels of all time, but as managers...
Yeah, they're two of the greatest heels of all time, but not as managers.
Right. And surprisingly, not Pete Bow, Now You Know, no vote for Bobby Heenan.
Oh, he should be on everybody's list. He's like one of the people that I don't mind to keep repeating, because he deserves it, man. I mean, there's no one above him.
People would drive him crazy just calling him Weasel.
Right.
To the point that he had to wear a weasel suit for losing a stipulation. Yeah. Or what about when Matilda was chasing after him?
Chasing him around.
And then he dog-napped Matilda with the Islanders.
Right. Yeah, man, Bobby was great. He's the best ever. The best ever. I'm going to put it out there right now. Best ever. He should be on everybody's list.
I almost feel like because of everything Bobby Heenan did, he could even be like on the Mount Rushmore of just wrestling.
Yes, absolutely. And, I mean, while we're at it, why not put Bob Backlund up there, or Arnold Skolin?
For managers?
For managers. I mean, if you're going to put Bobby Heenan and Ric Flair,
yeah.
I prefer to watch Bob Backlund as a manager. No?
But I love Bob Backlund. I think Bob Backlund is so entertaining as a manager.
Yes, exactly. I did not like him as a wrestler.
Sir! Are you listening, sir?
See,
do you know your state capital, sir?
I didn't like Bob Backlund as a wrestler. I thought he was boring as hell. But as a manager,
oh come on! What about when he was doing the thing on his knees?
No,
dropped down to,
man.
that's so funny, and his duck walk.
No, I didn't like him.
Oh man, Bob Backlund, I love that guy. All right, Sarah, who's next?
The first ever submission from Phil Squared is Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Captain Lou Albano, and J.J. Dillon.
Great list right there. I mean, again, Jimmy Hart, when you really stop and you think about it, I mean, Jimmy Hart has been involved in so many awesome moments, so many awesome angles. I mean, I'm just thinking now about, when he managed Earthquake and then got involved into the feud with Hogan, and then what about when Jimmy Hart managed the Dungeon of Doom in WCW?
Yeah. No, Jimmy Hart in WWF was a great manager.
Yeah.
Not so much in WCW.
What about when he was with the Nasty Boy and he wore like the biker helmet?
That was cool.
I thought that was cool too.
That was cool.
And he managed the Fabulous Rougeaus too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
All
Jimmy
American
Hart,
Boys.
man.
Now, who was a great WCW manager aside from J.J. Dillon?
Well, it depends how you look at it, because there's Sherry,
Rob Parker.
My Brian.
J-double-F.
Rob Parker.
J-double-R-E-double-T.
Double T. It's double J. But a great WCW manager, huh? Yikes. That is a tough. Well, I mean, you had Paulie Dangerously with the Dangerous Alliance, in the beginning.
Yep.
Woman. Miss Elizabeth, Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, but where were they their best at?
Yikes.
WWF, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you think about Jimmy Hart, you're not going to think about him in WCW.
Teddy
You're not going to
Long.
think about Elizabeth in WCW. Even Teddy Long, I'm going to think about in WWE, making a tag match to the SmackDown.
Yeah.
You know?
That is true. Yeah, nobody mentioned Teddy Long.
No, not there. Because there weren't great WCW managers. There wasn't great WCW much, to be honest.
I mean, really beyond, like...
The NWO, that was it. Like,
Yeah,
NWO
well, no,
was
I
the
was
best
gonna
thing WCW ever had.
Well, I'm talking about his managers, though. I mean, when you had Paul Heyman and Jim Cornette, like, feuding with one another, those were really the only, the only time that I can remember that the managers were really prevalent in the storylines.
Right.
Beyond that, no, I can't think of anything.
And then you bring in a guy like Bobby Heenan to just do strictly commentary.
But that was his request, though.
Oh, really? He didn't want to be a manager?
No, he was done being a manager. His neck had, he had too many neck surgeries. He was too worried about getting injured. So that was on his own volition. But still, I mean, come on, you could have had Bobby. Bobby Heenan was just the best at everything. Okay, Sarah, who do we have next?
Next is a list from JC from EP, who also hates Bret Hart. Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Mr. Fuji, and Jim Cornette.
So yes, I was informed this week that JC from EP also has a burning hate for Bret Hart as well.
Did he send that in voluntarily? Like, he said he hated Bret Hart?
No, he also from listening to the show.
Right.
He wanted to make it known that he also hates Bret Hart.
All right, and I would like to know why he hates Bret Hart, because I'm sure that they're the same reasons as I do.
I think the reasons are pretty universal.
Right.
Yeah.
With anyone that hates Bret Hart.
Sure.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And everyone should hate Bret Hart.
Brian hates Brett. Brian hates Brett. Brian hates Brett. Brian hates Brett.
But so he puts Mr. Fuji on his list as well. We see Jim Cornette and Jimmy Hart again. I really feel like they're going to be battling for a top spot. And then another vote there for Bobby Heenan. And it looks like Bobby Heenan's on the rest of these lists.
Like,
but,
we should have just said, name your top two. Because it's...
Yeah.
Name your top two, because, we just automatically put Heenan and Heyman in there. Because it's no doubter.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised no Kimchi.
No.
Or Harvey Whippleman.
Harvey Whippleman is on my list of managers that I'm surprised didn't get mentioned.
Yeah. I think people just, overlooked him.
Yeah.
Forgot about him.
Yeah.
I was being sarcastic about Kimchi, though.
Well, yeah, of course. All right. So who do we have next, Sarah?
Steve the Savage votes for Bobby Heenan, Jim Cornette, Captain Lou Albano, and the Grand Wizard.
So our first vote for the Grand Wizard of Wrestling right there, the manager of the superstar Billy Graham. Remember him being the manager also of the Masked Superstar as well. He had this Swami kind of gimmick in the 70s and early 80s, and unfortunately he passed away right before the big boom. But if he had been alive when Hulk Hogan had come around, then he would be probably in a similar position of Bobby Heenan, as just feeding these monsters to Hogan, and Grand Wizard would probably take some shots from Hogan as well.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you mention the Masked Superstar. Now, that was Bill Eadie, correct?
Yes, it was. Demolition Axe.
Right. A lot of people don't know that.
No, and I thought he played a great character as the Masked Superstar. I mean, just a masked superstar.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, he was like a heel, and, he was just very confident and arrogant, and played a great part. But yeah, manager was the Grand Wizard. But,
What about Oliver Humperdinck?
Oh, nobody mentioned him either.
He managed Bam Bam, right?
Yeah, and then I think in WCW they ended up calling him the Big Dink.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Hey, nobody mentioned Dink.
The little guy?
Yeah, the little guy with Doink.
He wasn't there for a while. Maybe he could play Toad in the Mario Brothers.
Oh, Dink can play Toad.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
In the Bowser, Hulk Hogan as Bowser, and
either that or the Haiti Kid or something.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Dink. Okay. So let's get to this list of people that we're surprised haven't been mentioned. So I'm gonna throw some of these names at you. First one, Paul Jones. Paul Jones was Jim Crockett Pro NWA manager, but Paul Jones's army, he had Abdullah the Butcher, he had the Barbarian, He managed Superstar Billy Graham for a little while, but he was one that I'm surprised hadn't gotten mentioned. We already mentioned the Doctor of Style, Slick. He was not mentioned.
Should have been mentioned at
Yeah,
least once.
I mean, great manager for a lot of...
But who am I to say? He's not on mine either, so...
Well, how about not a single vote for either Beulah or Francine from ECW?
Nah, I wouldn't put them on there either.
But come on, Beulah fought for her man. She bled for her man.
Is she on yours?
No.
Alright then.
Okay.
Don't fight for them if they're not on your list either.
One that I'm actually very surprised didn't get mentioned at all was Sunny.
Yeah, but what did she manage? She managed the Body Donnas and the Smoking Guns.
Farouk, very shortly.
Nah.
All right, maybe. Yeah.
Eye Candy, man. That's all that was.
And then, I mean, of course, managing Chris Candido and Smoky Mountain and an ECW. Luna Vachon, there's somebody we mentioned her earlier, but nobody mentioned Luna Vachon. Harvey Whippleman, nobody mentioned. No mentions for Baby Doll or Precious. Here's one. Not the original wrestling manager, but an old school manager, Bobby Davis. And Bobby Davis was the manager of the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. And famously, Bobby Heenan was mistaken for Bobby Davis. And that's how Bobby Heenan got the name Bobby.
Oh, really?
His name isn't even Bobby.
No kidding. What's Bobby Eaton's real name? Oh, you don't know it. I stumped you. I stumped Ian. Oh, happy day.
Well, now we have to keep that in. Let's see, Raymond.
Raymond what?
Raymond Lewis Heenan.
Man, I got you.
You did. You got me.
That's awesome.
Ray. Yep. Nobody mentioned Virgil. A local manager, Sidney Bacabella, from Top Rope Promotions.
Yeah,
I think he's a phenomenal manager.
He is, man.
And I know nobody was going to mention him. However, I got to give him a mention because I think that if one of the big companies did sign him, it would be such a throwback, and I think he would make a great manager.
Well, he's got that old school mentality, right?
Quiet down.
He's strictly old school, and that's what we love about him.
Where's the toupee? Where's the glasses? Dresses like Mickey Mouse.
Over the top, and he can work.
Like, this guy has it all. Can you imagine him managing, like, the Revival or FTR, whatever they're called now?
Right.
Oh, my God. That would be perfect.
It really would.
The guy knows how to get heat, and he's got the awesome character, and yeah, I wish somebody would take a closer look at him. But, Sarah, who is our last person to submit a list this week?
Our last submission comes to us from the Blue Lou, Bobby Heenan, Paul Bearer, Miss Elizabeth, and Paul Heyman.
All right, so there we go. More votes for Heenan, Bearer, Heyman, and, Elizabeth, she's not going to be on the Mount Rushmore, but she does get another list. Or she does get a mention on the list. But Brian, who is on your Mount Rushmore managers?
So my Mount Rushmore of managers, obviously, is going to be Bobby Heenan. It's going to be Paul Heyman. It's going to be Sensational Sherry.
Yep.
And man, I got to go with Jimmy Hart.
With Jimmy Hart. Okay. You know, you had me on the edge of my seat right there because we almost had the exact same Mount Rushmore.
Really?
Because mine is Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Sherry, and Jim Cornette.
Yep.
And it's funny because Jim Cornette and Jimmy Hart, both very close in this battle for the end. But let's find out, Sarah. Would you please read for us the stats?
This episode's Mount Rushmore of managers is Bobby Heenan with 26 votes, Paul Heyman with 19, Paul Bearer with 13, and with 12 votes, Jimmy Hart. Following relatively closely with 10 votes, Jim Cornette, with 6, Captain Lou Albano, and with 4 votes each, Sensational Sherry, J.J. Dillon, and Miss Elizabeth, with 3 votes each, Paul Ellering, Classy Freddie Blassie, and Gary Hart, and finally with 2 each, Mr. Fuji and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
All right, you think they got it right, Brian? Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, Paul Bearer, and Jimmy Hart.
Well, if I thought they got it right, that would have been my fault, wouldn't it?
That was your 4, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, that's right. You didn't have Paul Bearer.
I did not.
Oh,
See, you don't listen to me.
Okay.
You don't listen to me.
I'm sorry.
If I wanted this kind of treatment, I'd go home with my wife. I'd stay home. I'd say, you know what? I'm just going to stay home because you don't listen to me here either. Unreal.
I'm looking at 32 different lists in front of me right now.
Well, that's your fault.
I'm sorry that I didn't get your list right.
No, it's fine.
No, that's it. So,
That's it.
All right, fine. I won't call you lovely or talented then. Whatever.
Brian's back in the corner.
I thought nobody put Brian in the corner.
I think he put himself there.
Oh, alright, so I guess Brian's in the corner. Well, next week's list. Here's a big announcement. We want to know who is on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling commentators. So let us know who is on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling commentators. You can let us know on Instagram. You can reply to, one of the pictures that I will no doubt be putting up this week to collect as many votes as possible. You can comment on YouTube. Let us know there. Just, you know how to reach us. Have your people talk to our people and let us know what your list is. Any last words, Brian? Wow, he's still in the corner. He doesn't want to leave the corner. All right, so I guess the only thing left to say is, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, Squared Circle History. Drop an elbow on that notification icon so you know exactly when our latest videos drop. Go on to Instagram, squared.circle.history. You can friend us on there. Friend us on YouTube. Just let us know. Any way you can, just choose your 4. So for Brian, who's in the corner, and for Sara,
Till next time.
This is Ian from Squared Circle History saying good night.
Nobody throws Brian in the corner.
And my Mount Rushmore of opponents would be Sandman, Dreamer, Shane Douglas, and myself. I was my own biggest enemy in more ways than I can count. In fact, I was probably my most evil and what's the word I'm looking for? Destructive opponent. Yeah, that would be pretty accurate. The Mount Rushmore of my opponents, of my arch nemesis, would be Sandman, Dreamer, Shane Douglas, and myself. Quote the Raven, nevermore.